Hey, storytellers, storytelling Ron. I'm going to do some comments, remark on some of the comments with all of my crazy, contentious Christian contentiousness. Maybe that's a new religion. Contentful Christian. Contentious Christian. This is the Contentious Christian channel. Onward, Christian soldier, march. Onward, Christian soldier. All right, let me, I didn't set this up. Okay. Maybe this will work. Oh, look at that beautiful face. Okay, let me see. Let's go to this one because this one's kind of a... Storyteller? Okay, oh, shh, quiet, dude. All right, let me move this a little bit just to adjust so it's a little cooler looking. Oh, that's a biggie. Let me go back to this one. All right, fine. Okay. And yet, okay. I mean, I've done some replies here, but I'll just do it again. And I haven't even totally read through all of them, so I don't even know what's what. I'm gonna zoom this in a little bit more just to make it more readable. Why am I doing this live? What a doofus. That's how I roll, man. I just don't want to be successful and then I have to edit. Just don't want to edit. Okay. Okay, this guy says, and yet I play with multiple groups that include different races, different genders, different faiths, including Christians, different sexual orientations, and so on. And then I reply, all playing pagans. You have to play pagan. You cannot go in and do Christianity. What's Christianity? Well, we tell people what their sins are. We judge people. As long as we're not hypocrites. Okay. It is playing make-believe with extra steps. Well, yeah, exactly. The extra steps. No one stops you from playing a game where all players are into playing a game representing the real world religions. In this, okay, and I haven't read this yet. I haven't read this part. In the sense of a game, a character praying to Enos, the deity of law and good, would not be a pagan, since the deity Enos exists in the context of the game world. Well, okay. If you decide that this is pagan, it is on you that you don't want to play. It appears to me that you want to use the game as a missionary tool, and people are allowed to not be into that. Yes, true. Here in Germany, we say that friends don't talk about money, religion, and politics. I hope you find a group where you and your players can have fun doing whatever you guys want. That's great, but the problem is we're being kicked out of everything. You know, we're being kicked out of Gen Con. We're being kicked out of... if you bring up Christianity, you're a hate. You're termed as hate. In Germany, you cannot have homeschooling. You will be arrested. Your family, your children will be taken away from you in Germany. Frickin' Deutschland. Ja, ich kann Deutsch sprechen ein bisschen. Ich habe Deutsch studiert, wenn es war ein Kinder, no, studieren. Und ich kann Deutsch sprechen, aber warum? Ich bin in America. So I actually can speak German. I actually learned German in high school. Oberschule. Oddly enough, and I actually was learning Korean because I'm half Korean in college. But then my harmony, and I was kind of learning. I was getting good at it. But then my harmony, my grandma or my mom, I don't know which one of my angry Korean women, said I was giving them a headache. And I was like, you know what? I'm not doing this. No point. But ja, ich kann Deutsch sprechen, and I can speak German, but I don't have any need to, so I don't use it. So, warum? Why? Okay. In the sense of the game, a character praying to Enos the deity would not be pagan. Yes, he would be pagan. Everything outside of Jesus Christ is pagan. And I'm not going to be mean here, but we even, some of us Christians will even say Jews are pagan because of the style of worship. The style of worship is this. God defined paganism. I should make another video on this one. I think I have anyway. But God already defined paganism even unto you all, even unto the Jew, early in the first, like, Genesis 3. Like, right then. He said what paganism is. And we Christians need to understand this definition, because if we don't, then we are fooling ourselves. Paganism is what the serpent told Eve. You don't have to believe God. You don't have to believe God. Be your own God. You can be your own God. You don't have to be God. Or you don't have to believe in what he says or his rules. Right there. That's paganism defined. And it's amazing. He set you up, us up from the beginning. You don't want to believe God. You can be your own God. And if you go, like I watched this, and I was going to do a video on this, but I watched this young lady on YouTube, pagan channel, I am a pig, and she basically said in the video, I should have kept it. Maybe I'll go look for it. But she said, each pagan makes up their own thing, and each of us has our own way of doing things. Paganism is you deciding to be saved. I like this. Here's a pagan. I like this Jesus guy, and I, with my free will, have decided I'm going to go to heaven because I like this one as opposed to that one. I've decided that of the salad bars of religions, this Jesus one is the right one. For me, free will, I've decided that. That's a pagan. A pagan is when you are the God. If you decide, I do these sacraments, or I follow the 10 Commandments, the Jewish thing. I follow the 10 Commandments. I've decided to follow them and be saved by God, And that's, so us Calvinists, or, we believe in the elect or whatever, or the chosen. We think, oh, no, I didn't decide at all. God chose to say, me. And now if that offends you, you're probably not chosen. And if that offends you, I pray to the Lord that you will change your mind about that. If it offends you, if you are, what? That is ridiculous. What? I decide, that's paganism. When I became Christian, I was still kind of pagan, like in the sense of, I'm using hyperbole here, but in the sense of, I thought free will. I thought, free will is a weird term that we Christians has permeated Christian culture, yet it's nowhere in the Bible. But and I certainly like the idea of free will, like in my day-to-day affairs. But I think the real definition of free will for a Calvinist Christian is we are free from our sin. Ergo, we have free will to do things. Like I'm free from pornography. Thusly, I now have freedom to not be controlled by lust and pornography and pulling down my pants and masturbating to pornography. I'm free from that. So now I have free will. Okay. That is a huge thing. The addiction of pornography amongst men and in the culture that's being kind of ignored, and it's controlling men. And I even had a guy face to face to me. He did not want me to come to Jesus Christ because of his collection of pornography that he lived on. Man. Can you imagine that? Anyway. Do you really have free will? Sin is a slavery, controlling. So again, paganism. You make up your own crap. You are the God. You decide. That's paganism. And so here in Germany, we say that friends don't talk about money, religion, and politics. Well, the religion is Christianity. Politics, it's funny because the right wing likes politics to be separate from our lives, but the left wing, they're just political, period. Like everything is political to them. Anyway, okay, I don't know, whatever. Okay, so I don't know if I made that clarified that. Okay. Here's one. I don't think I've read this one. One of the things of D&D removing alignment, they say, we don't want to call monsters evil because things can change and evil can be a perspective. Yeah, evil can be, yeah, okay, I'm following. Okay, sure, it can be fun to play an evil character. Oh, this is a video I do want to do. So, sorry, I'm getting my morning coffee burps, and I don't edit out. Okay. Sure, it can be fun to play an evil character, sometimes knowing it's fiction, but don't pretend you're not being a bad guy. Okay, I'm all over my brain right now is all over the place. One of the things of D&D removing alignment, they say, we don't want to call monsters evil because things can change and evil can be a perspective. Sure, it can be fun to play an evil character, sometimes knowing it's fiction, but don't pretend you're not being a bad guy. By the way, I'm not religious. You don't need to be religious to be able to see when something is objectively evil. For people that are religious, things are more clear, but even with the gray area, there's a clear line of free will that many games are trying to remove that line from the core of the game. Religious things are more clear cut, but even with the gray area, there's a clear line of free will that many games are trying to remove that line from the core of the game. I don't know if I'm following that last bit. I feel like I'm going to sit here and think about it and then come back to the video just because I think I just need to sit and relax with some coffee. I'm going off on too many directions in my own brain firing, but I will be right back with the same question. I'm going to think over this question and then come right back. Okay. I think I'm following what he's saying here. So the first part, one of the things, we don't want to call, yeah. So, well, okay. I have another direction. So he's saying, and this is a right point though. He's saying that they're trying to remove evil so that we can, not everything in the game is necessarily ultimate evil. Well, D&D is especially, like orcs. They're trying to say that they're not all bad. And then, sure, it can be fun to play an evil character sometimes, knowing it's fiction, but don't pretend you're not being a bad guy. By the way, I'm not religious. You need to be religious. People see something, right? People that are religious things are, I'm getting a mind numbing right here. People that are religious things are more clear cut, but even with the gray area, clear line of free will that many games are trying to remove the line from the game, core of the game. All right. He's kind of going back and forth with stuff. And what you're saying, by the way, is not incorrect. I get it. It's subtle and it's weird. It's like you're going into the weeds with all this. They're trying to remove evil, right? D&D is trying to remove evil so that I don't know, like racism or something. Like we don't want to all be the white supremacist. I don't know what they're trying to do. Yeah. But at the same time, I got to pause this again. I'm getting whacked. Okay. He's kind of saying a couple of different things, or at least my interpretation is he's saying couple of different things here, and they're all very in this little gray line area. I'm going to pass that one. I can't really respond to that one. They're trying to remove evil so that we can be friends. I'm going to go off on my thing then. They want to remove evil so that we don't have to have evil things. So some of the evil stuff that's going on can be considered just let's negotiate. Let's talk it out. But yeah, for us Christians, there's some things that are just evil, pure evil, and we have to stop it. Now, the thing is that they want motive and action are really important in a story. And a lot of the evil characters are being given very ridiculous motives and actions that are harmless or that are homogenized milk. They're milk toast or milk or whatever. So they don't even like slavery. They're removing the word slavery from D&D now so that they're servants. But they really are slaves. That's the default position of paganism in history, and we know that. They're removing slavery, so they don't even want you to have a villain that's actually a real villain. But that means they're removing reality from fantasy stories. Need a base of reality, so to create fantastical stories. But they're removing all of that. They're removing all of the real world historical conditions that created villains and created our these amazing stories and all that. And we just they're making them very weak and gray, and I don't know. I this comment is very strange. I'm gonna have to move on. I'm interested on your take of this. When Christians make a setting for their campaign, should God be in it, or should a new God be put into the setting with the fundamentals of Christianity in mind? Well, fundamentals is lame because fundamentals is what pagans are co-opting. Be good, be nice. If you want, because they have an asterisk there. It's a complicated question that I've been thinking about for a long time. Arguments for it would be it allows a direct Christian message to be put into the campaign And players and PCs can do Christian things. Arguments against would be the GM would have to play God. No, you don't have to play God to some degree, and it could fall into argument of whether someone should make images of Jesus God. Personally, I make a new God for settings I create because I want to create a new world for my players to get immersed in. That said, I would include God if it was a historical modern setting. What did I responded? Check out my For the Lord RPG on my website for the way I figured it out, or various videos here. I'll probably do another soon to go over it again because I enjoy it so. So, in my For the Lord RPG, God is not there. It's us missionaries, us Christian missionaries in the medieval setting, in the Dark Ages, and in the post-apocalyptic, and in the Christians in space. My contention now isn't necessarily with pagans. It's with Christian men playing these RPGs and giving up their faith in the game and playing a pagan. And thusly, we are lulling ourselves as a culture. And you can see it. All of you can see it. The pagans are taking over. They own everything. They even... I did read some other guy saying there's so many Christians in the governance, but they're pagan, or they're acting pagan, or they're lulled. They've been taught to be pagan. We know we need to rebuke you guys. We need to rebuke you, expose your sin over and over, and we need to legislate some of it. I don't want to be cruel and mean, and I don't want to throw stones. Right? I want to love the enemy. So the legislation should be fair. It shouldn't be cruel. But it should tamp down on this terrible stuff that's going on today. Grooming, sexualizing children should be obviously legislated way the F out. Homosexuality, I don't want to imprison men that are homosexual. Absolutely, I don't want to do that. But look at the culture; it's really bad, and the gay culture certainly has a really big problem that it does not want to address, and that's that going after young boys, or young adult boys, like 18 and younger boys. I mean, and hey, men go after 18 and younger girls. So that should be attacked. And so should, in the gay culture, men going after young, under 18 boys. In the gay culture, they have a movement to get young boys, and it should be exposed and attacked by you nice gay guys. And I put that upon you. But I also put it on Christian men to do it and make it harsh and mean and not, we're going to be nice. Also, medically, the medical problems of the gay man should be exposed openly, not hidden. Like in West Hollywood, all of it's hidden. All the records, all the medical records, HIV records, that's all, even legislatively, it is hidden from the public. In California, if I was a gay man and I had HIV, I could legally give it to you knowingly. That's how evil it has become. You should be going to prison for knowingly giving someone else HIV, right? So, but that's not the case, and that's because we don't have enough Christian men rebuking it. And if you gay men want to join in, fine. I know I do have a couple of gay men that I respect, but I'm still cautious of because of the choice of that sin, and I'm going to say it out openly and outwardly. Okay, let me move on. So. You don't need to play God. You're a GM. You don't need to play God. You don't play the other gods in the game. You might do a couple of decisions, but you don't play God. You don't have to play God. You don't have to play Jesus. You just let them use their blessings, hoping that it is the will of God, and then roll it. Cast lots, which is in the Bible. Cast lots and see if they succeed or fail, and that's okay. And we Christians fail all the time, and that it doesn't matter. God doesn't need us to succeed at all. God doesn't need us at all. The reason we have the Great Commission isn't for him. Jesus gave us the Great Commission to evangelize. That's not for him. He doesn't need it. It's for us. So we can do something for him. Because we love him so much. We want to do something for the Lord. So he gave it. Okay. He's like, I'm joke here, but Jesus going, okay, you know what? All right, fine. Go ahead and spread the message. Go ahead. Fine, do that, okay? Just go ahead and do that, whatever. That's kind of like the way of looking at it. Jesus is giving the Great Commission by just like, you know what? If you're gonna do something, then fine, do that. But don't get in my way. God doesn't need us to do that. The Great Commission is for us to love, show our love for him, but show our love for him because he already knows our love for him. Show our love for him for ourselves, so we understand how much we love him. All right, I've been playing a bunch of old D&D recently, and it's so relieving to see a real Christian perspective, maintaining truth, real faith. Yay, truth, love. All right. Oh, I hearted this one. Thank you, man. Original JDB. Is it right there? Yeah, right there. Let me see it. Right here. Sorry, kind of brain foggy here. Okay, thank you. And I really appreciate the comments like that. It encourages me because I'm being attacked and mocked and scoffed, but that encourages me too because that's Jesus. It's so funny because when people say you should be attacked, mocked, and scoffed, that's glory points right there. All right, you get glory points for being attacked because Jesus, come on. He did not pull out a rocket launcher when the mob attacked him repeatedly in the Bible. He ran away. He had to run away. He had to use his magical powers of escape to run away from the mobs because they hated what he was saying. And the world is going to hate Jesus and you and me. It should. And I don't, I'm contentious. And I don't mean that to attack you pagans. But what I'm trying to do is tell you, yes, you're a sinner. I'm a sinner. You're a sinner. Don't. Let's get humble, not arrogant. Paganism is the default of all of us, and paganism is so incredibly cruel. And I know for a personal fact. I am a cruel person. And so are you, in the end. So you have to, once you realize that, how cruel, you're the evil that God is allowing on this earth. You're the evil. If you hate God because of all the evil in the world, guess what? It's you and me. So, okay. These people prop up diversity until you get to intellectual diversity, and then their goal is absolutely annihilate anybody who's intellectually diverse from them. Oh, man. We see it in Warhammer 40K all the time. They are constantly trying to use every tactic to push the 40K fandom out, and yet the gate remains. I don't know what the gate refers to. I know there's some sort of term there that I just don't know exactly what it is, but I think it's the gate of like old school players or whatever. But that's interesting about 40K because I was when I wasn't into role playing games there for about 10 years, I was hardcore into 40K. I had over 100,000 points worth of armies. I had huge apocalyptic. I have a picture of 40, 50 tanks. I had a whole table full of tanks. That's how obsessed I was with the Imperial Guard. And I had like 4 Bane Blades and, just crazy. But I eBayed it all off because I was like, what the heck am I doing? That's why I use paper doodly things now because I just love a notebook is all I need now with my game rules and the paper stuff. But I learned a lot from it. I really enjoyed it, for what it was. Okay, here's another one. I have a very diverse table. Including one of these trans communist activist types. Exactly. Why do they always treat communist? Well, of course they are. But I always put an additional Christian values into my games. Okay, well, that's still paganism. The last one we ran leaned heavily into the concept of forgiveness. How you can be absolved of your sin and there's nothing bad that can be made good again. That divinity doesn't exist to just punish you, etc. So after the campaign, we kind of had our post-campaign wrap-up, and despite them telling me they loved the campaign, I could see the gears turning in their head as I explained this to them, and they were trying to find an angle of attack. Wow. Well, good for you. To tell me I was wrong somehow, or the campaign was good despite that, not because of it, etc. Yeah, it's gonna come to blows at some point, not physical, but we are being sorted today by the wicked and by God. I think we're being sorted. I feel like it. And it says so in the Bible that we're going to get sorted. Jesus used the sword against the family as a hyperbole, but what he was saying was that when you become a Christian in your own family, they're going to fight you and kick you out and split you up, and that's the ordeal of a Christian. So, I mean, it's good what you're doing, but I would say my suggestion to any of you that understand what I'm talking about as a Christian man, my suggestion is to start a real Christian group, openly Christian. The reason is we need it, And we need to evangelize, and we need to push back on all this paganism, seriously, in the culture. And you need to get a group going that then plays regularly as a Christians and evangelizes in the game and works on your evangelism, so that as you do that, you can then take it to a convention, take your group to wherever, do it on YouTube, and we just start spreading the good news through our role playing. And it's fun. That's the thing. You're missing out. You're missing out on your faith, using your faith in a fun, adventurous way. And I'm so joyful that I can do it this way. It's almost like I'm stealing from the Lord. Stealing, like I'm stealing his joy and taking it in my role-playing game. It's kind of like that, but no, remember, right? It's not a burden. What he's asking for is not a burden. If you really are of Jesus Christ, it's not a burden. Your sins should not be a burden. If your sins are a burden, then clamp down, focus on that. My sins are an annoyance. They're not a burden. So they're around me. They're certainly around me. And I certainly see porn and go, whoa. But then something kicks in. The Holy Spirit kicks in. I'm like, whoa. Ooh, look at that. Ooh. I start looking at it in a hilarious way. I don't look at it in that addictive way anymore. Like, I got to masturbate. It just doesn't go there anymore. Instead, it goes like, oh, okay, whoop, stop. Just not, I don't know. Just, it's funny. Dude, I'm brainwashed by the Holy Spirit. All right, let's move on. So that, waffles, just, like my suggestion, my, encouragement to you is to, push for, start a Christian group. Malbec. Oh, that's wine. Dude. Having a good time with people of different beliefs necessitates you make effort to avoid those differences, but if they're too strong. That's just how people work. I wish that's how pagans work. If I want to join my friend's D&D group, who I know is a rather conservative fellow, then I'll adopt it and not mention some things that we might strongly disagree on. If I feel like that's too much effort, I can find a different group where those disagreements are milder or aren't present at all. Besides, you have both progressive and conservative Christians who each have their own opinions on things. Yes, true. It's not religion that gets people kicked from groups like these. It's those opinions and their inability to adapt to others. And that works same on both sides. I said, as long as everyone plays pagan. As long as everyone plays pagan. As long as you play a pagan and not a Christian. By the way, in progressive and conservative Christians, in my church, progressive, there are no progressive Christians. Or not, they change. They change. And I've had a few mention that too, in their little, what do you call those things when they talk about, I forgot, when they talk about their faith and or whatever, I forgot what those are called. Damn, I'm losing my vocab. Yeah, it's pretty much all conservative at my church, at John MacArthur's Grace Community Church. As far as I know, I used to be in some of the groups, but I'm not anymore. I go to the service and then I come home and work on this. So, I have not been in the culture of the church for a while because they don't, and they're very busy, and full of, like, if you try to go volunteer at their all of their big things they do, their events, you got to wait in line to volunteer. So I'm like, I'll work on this and focus on this. That's what I've been doing. But we certainly put our money over there. If you think that homophobic, racist, and anti-trans are synonymous with Christian, that's a you problem. If you think that homophobic, racist, and anti-trans are synonymous with Christian, oh, I see what you're saying. Yes, I do. That's a me problem. Of course it is. Because I don't know, homophobic, racist, and anti-trans, the homophobic, have they ever called Muslims homophobic? Like even in a news article or New York Times or LA, have they ever called them anti-trans? Have the trans people called the Hamas anti-trans? I don't think so. And Islam, by the way, is pagan because you have to actually do sacraments and hardcore stuff to be a Muslim. You decide to do that. Well, you think you decide. Anyway. So Islam is paganism. So is Hinduism. So is atheists. Atheists are pagan, by the way. You're your own God. You get to decide. You decide what's hate speech. You decide who's homophobic. You decide you're a good person. You decide. It's up to you. You're the God. That's paganism right there. Atheists like, I'm not pagan. Yes, you are. You're a pagan. Doesn't mean you don't have to freaking have a ritual where you go. Well, you do have rituals. You just don't know it. But you don't have to go set up a ritual with some weird, your ancestors. Pagans worship their ancestors. Like they would pray to or talk to their ancestors. That's paganism. I mean, look at Rome. Rome was full of pagans, and many of them were atheists, like in the sense of not believing in any gods. And then they would just talk to their ancestors or do whatever, or I'm thinking about you, which is not much of a power. Although you and I sense it as a power, but it really isn't, scientifically speaking. But atheists will do that. I'm thinking about you. I really was thinking about you, and just wanted you to know that. Okay. Just found your channel yesterday, and I'm blessed for it. Thank you, Abba Father. I love RPGs. I'm an old school guy, but like you, I'm disturbed by the increasingly overt demonic conditioning done through it. I have thought of writing my own RPG, but never attempted it, nor know where to start other than an outline of what I am aiming for. I'm going to say something about that, which is, him and others, I've noticed. That what I want to include, what I'm aiming for is wild, weird, disturbing, but always with hope, joyful, and short. I want to create a setting of stories reflecting Earth's own history. The pre-flood. I remember, I read this one, yeah. Well, the pre-flood world was more satanic than most people can imagine. What happened in that time is the foundation to all of these storylines we are seeing today. Well, the problem with that is there's not enough information in the Bible to really work that out. So I would, I'm against that right now. I would do it for fun. Like the pre-flood world is like a Conan hyper. It is. I mean, Robert E. Howard basically wrote that off of the pre-flood concept of an ancient civilizations before the flood. Hyperborea and the Conan realm, which is pretty much what it must have looked like. Everyone was violent and killing each other and all that. But it's not. It doesn't help in today's world of missionary work, I don't think. He's all Titan wars, cannibalism, hybrids, flying machines, authoritarian culture, and much more. It was a world that was buried through the flood, reemerged to an extent, and went underground after Yeshua came. But it again is clawing its way above ground, and we see it everywhere. Yahweh bless you, brother. And I said, Gonzo, pre-flood, Hyperborea, Conan thing was how I saw that. And my Apostles of the Epoch wasteland setting might be your ticket. You can go Gonzo with that and Christians in space. I'm trying to keep the Dark Ages setting relevant to church history and pagan horrors of old, to revitalize our own need to return to an evangelist psyche versus the pagans of today. Glad you found. I got a website, Discord. Love to have you hang out. So my Dark Ages setting is church history, and I really want we need to reinvigorate that amongst us Christian men in the RPG world. Christian men in the RPG world, you need to really, the reason I would want you to play the Dark Ages, and the reason I've narrowed it back down to European medieval creatures and legends and myths, as opposed to the fantastical sci-fi stuff, is because I want us to kind of research the church history and all the crazy stuff in the medieval times to get us, you and me and our kids, literate about that. Like a mythos, like turn it into a mythos and a fandom and stuff like that, like Marvel and Star Wars. I obsessed over the Star Wars Wikipedia wiki when I was doing Star Wars RPG, and I found it fascinating. I wish there was like a cool one like that for medieval. I mean, I'm just not aware of it. Maybe there is. Link and subscribe, whatever. Put it in the comments. Whatever. All right, Luis. Thank you, Luis. He's been one of my players and been helping me out a lot. Appreciate it. All right, the GM Jakin one I've already talked about, and that was kind of whatever, frustrating. But plenty of Christians are going to miscue on each other. And that definitely what happened with GM Jakin and me. In the New Testament, and just so you know, but I remember why are there so many Christian denominations, have you read the New Testament? Because all the churches were different. They were all different. They all had different ups and downs in the New Testament. And the apostles argued. So if you look at us guys are all arguing in a different church, apparently you don't read the Bible. So, Christian Realist Gamer RPG Guy, thank you so much for your support. Appreciate it. I should send you some of my books. Bug me if you get to this, and I'm gonna send you my I have prints now of all these, and I'm waiting for the Cruiser Space one, but they're the first edition, and I'm already on the second edition, and all they are is a few pages of changes. So the rest of it is the same. The few pages of changes are very easy to print and use, but they're just the only real change is the glory points and cost for upgrading skills and getting glory points. So that's very nominal. And the only other real change is that I'm extrapolating out the die ranks. I'm clarifying the die ranks thing. It's still in the first edition, but I just wanted to really I made a couple of extra pages of rules to explain it better. I think I've kind of okay. Let's just keep going. I'm enjoying myself here. It's been my experience that people will say they are fine with you being a Christian, but in reality, they only tolerate nominal Christians. Correct. Remember, paganism is default. It can be anything. As long as you are the God, you get to decide. You're the one doing it. As soon as you begin to live your faith or to talk about the truth of God, sin, repentance, etc., you'll find out what they really meant. You can wear the label, but you have to act and talk like them. Exactly. Yes, thank you very much. You're getting it. Gnarled Pine Ambusher. Don't you dare live like you actually believe any of it, and you better keep the most important part of your life to yourself. They tolerate the label, not faith. Did I respond to this? Agreed. Mainly because most of y'all don't know how to mind your damn business. Yeah, exactly. Oh, I can't heart this one? That's weird. Let's see. Thank you, sir. Exactly. Pagans. Exactly. If only pagans followed, listened to you. Okay. So pagans will definitely are very reprobate. They're very hypocritical, and that's totally fine. It's totally fine to be hypocritical and as a pagan. I mean, look at the trans supporting Hamas. It's totally fine to be a hypocrite, and so don't be confused by that because they're reprobate. The God says they're going to be reprobate. Reprobate means illogical. I want to do this video over and over, but I have not, and it's not really part of my channel. But I live in Hollywood, and I walk the dog around, and it is disgusting. It is disgusting. This city, the Hollywood, ever since their Trump hatred, they have put everyone there. They basically have taken their own Democrats hostage, and the Democrats are freaking falling for it and accepting their slavery. This city is disgusting. What's going on? The homeless camps, the feces, the trash. They've Here's how they cut the budget. They now only do street cleaning every other week. So every 2 weeks. It is disgusting. And it's not even done that well. It is disgusting what the city's, the trash everywhere over and over. I walk my dog, so I'm walking in it. I see it all along the streets on Sunset, Hollywood, in the camps. Disgusting. And this is the haven of paganism. This is the haven of environmentalists, of Greenpeace. This is the epitome of their life. This is their utopia. Hollywood. All Hollywood is owned by are the environmentalists, the green. I don't know what their name is. The woke green, save the earth, pagans, and it is disgusting. It's disgusting. What else can I say? I don't know what else to say. But that's their hypocrisy. I want to make that video. And the video is basically me just taking pictures of video of everything I walk by. I mean, the junk in the gutter is like gray and black and folded up feces with dirty raggy cloth from who knows what. Just all along the gutters and on the sidewalks. and they all have tents. Where do they get these tents from? They get it from Democrats, from the activist Democrat agenda. How do they get these tents? Like, I want a tent. They never used to have all these tents. Okay. I think you have an issue with hedonism, not simply paganism. Well, it's the same thing. I'm willing to bet that if you read Zeno of Citium, Seneca, Epictetus, Marcus Aurelius, you'll find them all full of truths. You also find in your Christian values, all are Stoic philosophers. Yeah, but it doesn't last. You can have good people in paganism for sure, but they won't last. There won't be men who rebuke, men of virtue, men. As soon as we Christians have a Jesus Christ and God, we know we're going to go before them in heaven. Like, we have to answer to them in a sense. We have to answer them. Well, yeah, we do. But you pagans don't have anyone to answer to. I mean, you can make up someone, but you really don't believe it. So you're going to eventually just give up. You're going to eventually surrender. Every pagan and every atheist movement turns into a Marxist communist dictatorship. Why? Because someone in that movement is going to become the most violent and controlling and take out everybody else, or they're going to surrender or submit in slavery to that individual. So every atheist movement in the world has become Marxist communist, which is basically a king controlling everything, a dictatorship. Some of them will copy our Christian constitutional republic. They'll copy it for a while, but it eventually becomes a communist Marxist dictatorship because everyone capitulates. And look in America today, the Democrats are capitulating to each other, and it's becoming a communist Marxist dictatorship. My mission is to try to wake you up, the Christian men, because we're the ones who will willingly stand up to it, because we don't have one life to live, right? We have heaven. When you all say there's suffering and dying and everyone's suffering, well, we have heaven. So we're fine. You can, torture and kill us and beat us up and all that, but we're going to go to heaven and be with God. So we're going to still tell you of your sin or of your tyranny, of your evil. We're not going to capitulate to it. I mean, we will if we're in pain and tortured and all that, but we're not going to work, we're not going to support it. We're not going to enslave, yay, okay, I'm going to agree with you. No, you're going to torture us and imprison us. And then we might, okay, I'm sorry, cause you're cutting my leg off. I'm sorry, but we're not going to be part of it. One of I just read Origen, he was like early Roman Christian in the Roman, and then they made a law that the Christians everyone had to worship the emperor. You could worship your God, Jesus Christ, but you also have to worship Caesar, the emperor. And they tortured him. And he was one of the original sort of post disciples, one of the original sort of writers that really helped spread Christianity. And the pagans even loved him because he was so wonderful. But they tortured him because he would not I worship Jesus and God, but I also worship the emperor as God. He wouldn't do that. So they tortured him and basically ended his career. And supposedly in the writing I'm reading, it was noted that they tortured him with regret. Like they regretted that they had to torture him, but they did because the emperor said they had to. And so he never recovered. He took him like a year later, he died from the torture that happened, the horrible torture. So for the next year, he suffered horribly till because he couldn't, and he died. And that right there is an insult to the emperor, Caesar, and then and everyone saw it. And so the Christians saw it and said, you know what? I'm not going to worship this guy. And so the emperor and all the pagans realized, hey, there's a belief here that doesn't comply with our Marxist communist tyranny. Interesting. That is shattering, power shattering right there. Origen just doing that. And many of the other Christians did comply, like but he didn't. And it just needs all it needs is a few to not, and to make the emperor realize that he's not really a god. And so you Christian men, join us, or Be Christian. Preach, brother. Thank you. If you believe it's Christian to put down others for who they love or how they dress and present themselves, that says more about you than anything else. Sure, why not? Yes. And are you saying the guy with the happy time bot is exemplary of Christianity? I only got to 242 and I'm damn, dude, you are speed running bad takes. Or whatever. I don't want to go there and check that out. But if you believe it is Christian to put down others who they love, no, who they lust. Lust. Here's love. Let me explain to you love. Love is giving up your lust. Love, here's the tradition of love for like a man. Commit yourself to one woman. Commit yourself to this woman for life. And the children thereof. That's love. Give up everything else, whatever you want, your lusts, your drugs, your hedonism, your role-playing game. Give up everything in your life. Commit it to that woman, protecting her, providing for her, loving her, and then the children thereof. And then when the children come, give up everything you love and raise those children and be with them and play their games and jump around with them and go to their sports things and all that. That's love. Now, a little secret here, whilst you're loving your wife and your children, whilst sneak out once in a while and play an RPG. You actually get plenty to do, but the truth of it is give up all that for them. That's love. Okay. Having gay sex with another man and getting off and masturbating to porn and whatever, that's not love. Okay. It's not love. The goal is to have children, not take children from a woman. No Handmaid's Tale stuff here of two gay men taking a child. So yes, Dave Rubin, I'm very critical of that, and I will always be. I will not ever support that. And adopting children is only acceptable if it's a mother and a father giving that child a mother and a father, honoring the mother and the father. So, yeah, it's not love if you're going to do something to look like love or to, no, it's you actually giving up. Okay, so your definition of love is terrible. All right. I would like to pick your brain. You have Discord. Seth McLean did I tell you? Well, Seth McLean, I don't know. Are you Christian? I don't care for you to pick my brain if you're like an atheist or agnostic or whatever. And if you have any desires of Christianity, and I'm not the one, go to a pastor, go to a church. If you want to play For the Lord RPG and you're a Christian and you're gung ho and you're like, wow, this is amazing, then come on over. But I am not here to convert you or teach you about Christ. Go to church. I don't know who you are. So if you, and I don't want a non-Christian on my Discord, I will kick you out because it's for, and it's specific Christians too, yeah. So based DM, I think that's good. I'm not sure. Is this satire? No, the world is. Hail Satan. See, 5 likes. Wow. See, thank you. That helps me confirm I got to keep going. That right there is like, yep, I got to be even more contentious. I mean, as long as I'm being reasonable or Christian. Okay. So yeah. Wow. Hail Satan. Oh yeah. Christians gave us the world we have today. Strange that everything we didn't come about until the secular enlightenment. That's so ridiculous. How so? Please enlighten me. Oh, I freaking replied. Where's my reply? What? I did reply. So I'll reply now. The secular enlightenment is the epitome and clarity of that is the French Revolution versus the American Revolution. I read about this. The French Revolution culminated with the guillotine and the most quick and easy way to execute all political and religious prisoners. The secularists look for the quickest and easiest way just to execute. And they even executed their own Robespierre, the leader of the French Revolution. That's how hilarious that was. And then after that, they got Napoleon, because that's how pathetic that ended up. The secularists are pagans or whatever, and they ended up just killing each other and they were going to turn into a Marxist dictatorship, which is kind of what they did with Napoleon. No, the secularists in the world are ridiculous. And if you look at the greatest artworks of the Renaissance and all that, it's all Christian. There's some paganism, like religiously paganist stuff, like Venus de Milo or whatever. But the vast majority of it is Christian. And that's weird, dude, that they even had pagan art. Gee, us Christians are pretty tolerant there for some, but whatever. Okay, I mean, look at the cathedrals. What do we go back to now? We go to the cathedrals, all right? That's what we go to when we go touring in Europe and, checking out the wonders is the hard work done by Christians and their joy and glory of Jesus Christ. And, I don't want the cathedrals and all that to be an altar or a idol or anything. But it's just the wonderful joy of seeing people who love Jesus build something, to honor God, Not that that's necessary. It's not necessary. But it's just kind of neat, medieval history and all that. Everything is framed with Catholic pagan lens. So the cross in a circle is a symbol for Baal. I don't care. I don't care. The reply is not. I don't really care what the symbols mean or don't mean. I don't really care. I love Jesus Christ, so whatever. It took 1 minute and 14 minutes into the video for transphobia to appear. So yeah, reported and muted the channel. Bye. So don't worry, you didn't miss much else. Yeah. So reported and muted the channel. That's great. I don't mind if you mute the channel. That's fine. Reported. See, that's typical of them. I'm going to report you to the government. Shut you down. Shut down your voice. Anyway, great comments. Thank you all, including the evil ones. So we have a fight ahead of us, a wonderful, joyful Christian fight. Just trying to look at I'm getting warmer in here. Christians, get busy. Get busy. Get in your game. Start creating Christian men and women, but I like to say Christian men just to be. Because if you're a Christian woman and I say Christian men and get together with Christian men, you're like, oh, okay, cool. Anyway, so get together. I got my games here. Please support me. I'm doing a Kickstarter soon, very soon, for the Christians of Space one to get some books out, and I'm going to put it on drive-through now. I'm going to go ahead and work with that, see how that works, and hopefully I have the freedom and the freedom of religion and speech to do that in a public forum, which is what we're supposed to be doing. And as a Christian, I love the enemy, so I don't hate anyone. I don't use hatred. I don't use attacks on. But I do want to tell the truth. I got to tell the truth, but I'm doing it in a nice way. I'm not trying to hurt anyone. I don't want you to be hurt or anything. Okay. And if I offend you, because, you got to deal with that. Offending someone is legal. Freedom of speech you will offend me. Hail Satan is offending me. And you're purposely doing that. You're a transphobe. That's offensive to me. You're purposely doing it. I'm not going to report you or anything. It's just, that's just how we are human nature. We offend each other. And that's called freedom. I hope you accept that. I hope you understand that. I doubt you will, but I hope you do. So that's my challenge to you. Love the enemy. If you love the enemy, that means you have to accept being offended. And you have to allow me to have freedom of speech. Equally as you do. All right. I doubt any pagan is listening to this at this end. Okay, thank you. Anyone else that's watch this or listen to this or maybe learn something, or maybe you can teach me something and let me know in the comments. And please comment if you want to support this channel, support me, and support what this is all about. It's a ministry for Christian men in the RPG culture. That's basically what I'm doing. Join me. I'm not the leader. I'm not going to lead. I'm just doing my part. If you join me and be a part of this group, I am not the leader. Okay, I'm just moving forward, and hopefully some of you will jump on my wave or wake and do it yourself too. Do your own thing in this RPG culture to affect change in it. Be your own force de majeure in it. please, I would love to follow you or watch you or check out your live plays. Please, someone else without me at all, please take these games or do your own, but Christian evangelism, church planting, rebuking in the game as Christians, missionaries, any setting, take one of theirs. That would be awesome. What if one of you, because you love all the D&D and Morkborg, and what if you guys decide, okay, we're going to be Christian area missionaries in this game, and the GM has to play out that. Do it. Okay. All right. Because I've got nothing to watch on YouTube. All right. In the game of life, roll holy dice.